there, my little grasshoppers. Welcome to Daddy's Archive, where I create video lessons for my future children. Today's lesson is about respect, and it's actually a topic that I've wanted to talk about for a little bit, but I wanted to make sure that I had a complete understanding of it, and I also knew its significant scopes in order to teach you. So, that being said, the scope of respect is actually quite massive. So massive to the fact that I cannot possibly teach you all of it. It's one of those lessons that a good portion of it you will have to learn over time through your own life experiences. But the purposes of these videos are to give you the basics at the very least. So that's what I want to do here. And as normal, as we start with these basics, let's start with its definition. So get out your dictionaries here. One of I would say there are three, what's a good way to say it? Three categories of respect. And I'm going to base these categories off these two definitions that I believe have the best representation of what respect is. So the first one is a feeling of deep admiration for someone or something elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements. The second one is respect is a due regard for the feelings, wishes, rights, or traditions of others. Okay, so from there, let me break these up into three categories of respect. The first category is what I like to call respect of self. This some people may say self-respect. So respect of self is simply as say, for example, being honest with yourself. I have my list here. Being honest with yourself. If you do something wrong, you take responsibility for that wrong. That is a form of self-respect. Even if nobody sees you, you are respecting yourself enough to be like, oh man, I messed up. I should probably fix that. That's a form of self-respect. Also, being practical and realistic in your environment, knowing what you are capable of, in a sense, that is also self-respect. So if you are working towards a certain level, know that you might not be able to reach that level right away, and have realistic expectations for yourself. That's also a form of self-respect. Another form of self-respect can also be confidence and congruence with that. Just be confident in yourself and know where you are. Know yourself is really the bottom line of what self-respect is. It's knowing yourself completely, even more than I would as your father, even more than your mother would, even knowing than anyone else who might know you. You know yourself the absolute best. No one else knows you better. In regards to responsibility, one thing I would also say is that going backwards just a little bit, take a step back. Respect is a two-way street. It's always a two-way street. So how would you get self-respect as a two-way street if you were simply only respecting yourself? Well, think about it this way. Because you are living in the world right now, and the world responds based on how you react to the world as well. So if you are respecting yourself, people around you will see that your level of self-respect is very high, and they will innately respond to that level of respect that you're giving yourself. So if you walk with confidence, if you act with confidence, you take responsibility yourself, you are honorable, people around you and the world around you will recognize this and say, that man, that person, that individual, that woman is a respectable person because they are consistent, they are confident, they know what they want, they take responsibility for themselves. That is how respect is then returned to you. So you are respecting yourself, yes, but then the world recognizes that and also gives you respect. And then you return it, of course, by being respectful to the world and whoever you interact with. And that's the next part. The next part of respect, I say respect to others or respect of others. This is the most basic form of respect. This is where the respect of others is essentially is the most majority of respect must be earned, but there is one instance I would say respect is simply given. It is simply given as you exist. Respect of others given, the one instance I would say that is given is when you are born, when you exist. Don't be rude to other people for the sake of being rude. Just be polite, be kind. Um, just don't be in, don't be that person who is disrespectful for the sake of being disrespectful. Every person has I would say, a bare minimum of level of respect that they are deserved, and that is just the respect of their life. Don't be disrespectful. Respect the other person's life. How I like to play it is, say for example, I'm driving on the road, right? When I'm driving on the road, I am respecting other people who are also on the road, say a pedestrian or another vehicle. Why? Because I understand that by sitting behind this vehicle has the potential to end a life. And so I provide respect to the people who are either walking or driving around me, and I do not want to harm their life. So I am giving respect, and in response to that, I'm also hoping that they are giving respect to me in my life as I'm driving out on the road. That's what I mean by saying this is a given respect to respect people's life. That is a given. But most other respects are earned. There are other respects to respecting others, also include common and societal decencies. So every society that you may encounter, say the respect that you would get in, you respect or give in the US, might be seen as disrespectful in another country. So know where you are in terms of the societal and cultural interactions. Know that respect is different depending on where you are, but that it is still common decency for that area. So respect in the US is not the same as respect in China or Japan. While there are there are also some common threads or some similarities, but for the most part, just be aware of where you are. That also goes into beliefs and origins. So if someone from Japan or China comes to the US and they have a different belief system than you do, simply respect that their beliefs are different. You don't need to judge them for being different than you are. Just respect that theirs are different, and that you may not believe or agree with everything that they do. This also goes into their choices as well. If the choices of another individual, especially if those choices don't affect you, or have no indirect or direct conflict to your person, respect their choice. They made that choice based on their life and their situation, and it has nothing to do with you. So that's another form of respect. This all falls under respect to others. The third and final category of respect is respect of authority. And this is one of the most complex versions of respect. It falls into levels of respect that I said I can't give you all of them because it's just impossible. But I can give you the basics of the complexities of respect to authority. The more obvious ones are respect to, say, a police officer. This is a man of authority. Respect to a judge, respect to a president of a company, a CEO, or a president of a nation. People are in positions of authority for a reason, and they are deserving of respect. That is also a necessary portion of society. Say, for example, a job. So you have several layers. So there's a hierarchy in a job. So you come in as a crew member. You start out at the most basic level, and then you have maybe a shift leader or maybe a supervisor, and then that supervisor has a manager, and then that manager has a director, and that director has a CEO. So there's a hierarchy, and at each level of hierarchy there's a level of respect that is deserved for that individual in that position. So you, as my grasshoppers, you must learn to recognize where respect is earned and give that respect at that respect's base minimum level. So the same respect you would give to a person at the same level as you are is not the same level of respect that you would give to another person who is a supervisor when you are coming in as a crew member. And that's one of the complexities that I was talking about. There are levels of respect. And like I said, there's a bare minimum of respect. So respect of life is the absolute bare minimum. Never go lower than that. But there are still levels of respect, and dependent on where you are socially, societally, and in your career, you may be deserving of a certain level of respect than someone else who may be lower or higher than you. Another level of respect of authority falls a little bit in line with the policeman scenario that I talked about earlier, which is laws and policies. I mean, respect the law that you are in. And these change according to, the state, region, or even the country or nation that you are currently residing in or currently visiting. Respect the laws of that location. They are there for a reason, so they are not to be taken lightly. Every time you encounter something that is a respect of authority, they are never to be taken lightly. They are there for a reason, and you should take into strong account what those reasons are and follow them. There's also a couple of other things. This is one that also falling under respect of authorities. Respect of authorities in relation to one's position, as I mentioned earlier, but I'm talking specifically about experience. So, say, I might have used this example before, but say, for example, you have two doctors. One doctor has 20 years of experience as a heart surgeon, and the other is a brand new on the job doctor. He has all the exact same training. However, he hasn't had a whole lot of experience. He probably has 2-3 years of experience. When both doctors come to you and they offer their services as your heart surgeon, which one are you more likely going to choose based on respect level of their experience? You are more likely going to choose the person who has 20 years of experience over the person who has only 3 years of experience. This is another example of respect level. This person over here has earned the respect of having 20 years of successful surgeries, knowledge. He has earned that, while this doctor over here has not, simply because he has not been in the field long enough. That isn't to say that the one with 3 years of experience doesn't have any respect. No, he does. It's simply that his level of respect is not as high as the one with the 20 years of experience. So this is still an authority. He is still an authority. The 3 years experienced person over here is still an authority of being a heart surgeon, but he could probably learn a lot from the guy with 20 years of experience, and that would therefore increase his respect level that he may be deserving of as the years go by and as he gains more experience and knowledge. This then loops all the way back to respect of self. So then this doctor over here might be saying, okay, I need more experience, I need to improve, I need to gain more confidence, I need to gain more knowledge. He is now providing that self-respect to himself, and then he will get that back once he gets up to the level of 20 years of experience, just like this doctor here. But then guess what? With this doctor here, 20 years later, this guy might have 23 years of experience. Now this one has 43 years of experience. So he's earned that experience, but he's still behind the other guy. So That's what I'm talking about. Complexities. And that's just a small taste of what those complexities even look like. So, at the end of the day, respect is extremely important. Key things that I want you to remember if you take anything from these lessons. Respect is a two-way street, always. No matter the situation, two-way street. There is a bare minimum level of respect, which is a respect of life. And know and understand who, where, and when to provide that respect. If you take anything from this lesson, these are the three things you should remember. Respect has many levels. Respect has a bare minimum. And know when, where, and whom to provide that respect to. Respect can be lost. That's one more thing that I want to remind you. So we'll add a fourth one. Respect can be lost. So let me give you a brief example. If you have a person who walks around and say, "I'll never steal," I'll never steal, and he has never stolen in his life, you might have a good level of respect for that person. But after saying for all these years, I'll never steal," and then he turns around and steals something, anything, doesn't matter. He steals. You're not going to have the same level of respect for that person anymore. One, now he's a liar. Now he's a deceiver because he said something he would never do and he did it. And then two, he no longer has self-respect for himself either. So how can we, as an individual, as society, look at that individual and say, "Oh, he's consistent, he's a respectable, he's an honest person," when he has now just proven that he's a liar, he's a thief, and he does not have respect for himself nor the people around him. So respect can be lost, and that is why I say respect must always be earned. This is what I want you kids to really take from this video. So I would encourage you to watch this video over and over and over again to make sure you know and understand what respect is and how it applies to you, how it applies to the world around you. And at the end of the day, I will always love you, and I'll see you soon.